Yes everyone, how you guys doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and welcome to another tier list video. Now, I think you guys liked yesterday's video where I went through the whole squad determining who should be kept, loaned, sold, and whose futures were undecided. Now, I'm going to be doing the same thing for the entire loan army. Yes, that's all 41 players out on loan. It should be a pretty healthy sized video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But before I get into anything, remember, today's video was brought to you by the OneFootball app. The OneFootball app gets better and better. Not only are you able to get all the information surrounding the players or clubs of your choice, but you're also able to pay to watch live La Liga games. Of course, when next season comes back, if you guys are on the go, you want to see what's happening with Real Madrid or Barcelona, well, it's just another reason to get the OneFootball app. If you want it, it's in the link in the description below. Now, without wasting any more time, getting straight into things. Starting with Reece James, and hey, come on you guys. This is easy. He needs to come back. He needs to replace Aspie as our new right back. He's got everything we need. He's young. He's got world-class potential. He can only grow and grow, and the earlier he plays, the faster it's going to take him to reach his full potential. And when you got a guy this good, there's no excuses to hold him back anymore. For me, he needs to come back. Tammy Abraham. Now, this is a pretty unique one. I don't know what happened to his head. I've been thinking about this. I've been deciding between him having one more loan, but I do think that he has qualities that we could do with. I think that with, more games coming due to more competitions, I think that Tammy can play a part. And I really like his mentality. A lot of times we look at young players, we only look at their technical abilities, but the mental abilities are really important as well. And I think Tammy has that. And I think that he's the type of guy that's only going to push himself to get better and better. And for me, I think it would be good to bring him back into the first teams where he can get acquainted to the setup and obviously do his thing. Angban, now, we've already sold him, so no need to talk about him. Moving on now to Baba Rahman. Hey, I feel for Baba. The injuries. So unfortunate when he got that knee injury as well. He wasn't able to play as many games as he'd like, and of course, the loan move to Ream is basically to get more game time. That's it. For me, he needs another loan spell. He needs to play a consistent season. I think it'll be good for him. I don't think he'll get the opportunities with us. So for me, evaluate after one more season. Bakayoko. Oh, Baka. I know that, he's been doing better this season. He's starting to get back some of the respect that he made for himself in Monaco. But if you consider that we're a club that need to sell players, because that's part of our, how we balance the books and obviously generate money and fall into financial fair play, then for me, sell Bakayoko. I can't see him being worth more than his value in the not too distant future. I think if you can get 30-35 million for him, I think it'll be good for us. Moving on to Nathan Baxter. Nathan Baxter, realistically, won't really have too much of a future here, but who knows what happens. And I think because he's so young, I'd keep him as part of the loan army. Nico Ziegler, it's the same thing for me. I can't really tell you too much about their abilities as goalkeepers, but I think when you're so young, I think Nico Ziegler's 19 years old. It makes sense to keep him in the loan army. Clark Salter. Now, Clark Salter has been quite decent in the Eredivisie this season. I think that he's a player where his market value could definitely rise. And I'd like to know what type of loan move he gets next. Could he go to the Premier League? Ideally, I see him as pretty continental. It would be good if he went to the Bundesliga. I'd evaluate after one more season. Moving on to Danilo Pantic, and for me, he's realistically not going to have too much of a future here. He's quite, he's not really feeling too confident about how the club uses him. Of course, his loan spell at Vitesse was really bad, and he's gone back home, and really, he's gone back to the level where we originally bought him from. Now, of course, the guy's really young, but I don't really see him making those strides in the not too distant future. So for me, I'd sell him. Yes, to John Sterling. I think he needs to be kept in the loan army. He's still quite young. I'm not too sure even if, he does. If he was evaluated after one more season, I think he's a guy that needs at least 2 or 3 seasons before you look at him seriously. Keep him as part of the loan army. Eduardo. I would sell Eduardo. We don't need him. There was a reason why he had to leave on loan in the first place because of homegrown issues. He's old. Of course, I guess he'd like a new contract because we pay decent money, but we don't really need him now. I would sell him. Fankati Dabo, he's someone that I would sell. Of course, being at Vitesse and moving to Sparta Rotterdam, I don't think he's of the same levels as like a Dujon Sterling or Ola Aina or Reece James. And I can't really see him improving too much or really getting like a really high market value. For me, I'd sell him. Izzy Brown. Izzy Brown. I feel for this guy, man. Obviously, coming through the West Ham Academy, you know, big reputation. You know, when we signed him at the time, it was a really like big coup. Of course, Mourinho was the one who gave him a debut as well. No surprise. I mean, he's 6 foot. He's a good player, but injuries have really held him back. And I think that he has to be kept in the loan army. But I'm feeling quite undecided because maybe what he needs now is somewhere stable where, you know, he can be part of a club set up for a while and really start to grow. Because I think sometimes when some of these guys are kept in the loan army every single year, you know, it can like negatively affect some of them. So I'm quite undecided. Jacob Maddox, his loan move at Cheltenham, I think at 20 years old, I can't really see him making the strides, really earning a lot of money for us. I would probably sell. Jared Thompson, another young goalkeeper. He's playing non-league football in the moment, I think. Don't know too much about him, not gonna lie, but I think that we do like to keep our talented young keepers at the club, so it doesn't really tell you too much about, you know, how his future is looking with us. For me, I would just keep him as part of the loan army, purely because he's young, to be honest. Jada Silva, my guy, real talk, man. You guys know that I rate this player highly. And it's like, I feel for him that obviously he's playing this football in this country because we really care about height for some crazy reason. As if like, you know, you're coming up against a lot of 6 foot plus wingers. It doesn't happen. I thought ideally you'd want a smaller fullback because they have that low center of gravity where if you're up against a winger with skill, you can keep up with them. You know, if they're trying to like shimmy you and stuff like that, you have that center of gravity. It's going to like keep you stable and follow them. Something tells me though that it'll be too optimistic to think he'll come back into the setup. Hopefully he does get a pre-season, that would be good. But I would evaluate him after one more season. I think that he's ready for top flight football, either in the Premier League or the Bundesliga. And yeah, I think that this guy's really talented and hopefully he gets his opportunity soon. Josh Grant, I would keep him as part of the loan army. He's at Yeovil's Town or City right now. So yeah, his first experience getting adults football. Moving on to Nico Ziegler. Again, he's another young goalkeeper out on loan. I'd keep him as part of the loan army. Casey Parma, another one where, you know, it is quite sad. A lot of injuries. You know, he did manage to play in the Premier League. Very skillful, very good technically, very good between the lines. He's the type of guy that just needs more consistent game time. I think that he is a guy we'll see in the Premier League or in the top division one day. I think he is that good. But again, I'm undecided. Is it fair to keep him in the loan army where he has to constantly keep traveling with his family to different clubs across the country? Or is it time for him to move on now and be stable? I'm undecided. Kennedy. I feel sorry for this guy again. And I'm going to be saying this line a lot of times, you guys, because, you know, a lot of these guys do get screwed over. Like Kennedy, the time when he travelled to Newcastle, and then the club told him to come back because they never signed a player in time, and then he had to go back there again in January. Disastrous. And it really sums up just how little respect we have for these guys at times. I think there's a player in there, but he needs to be playing on the right hand side. His game's always been to cut inside. I don't understand why clubs never use him in that position. Makes no sense to me. And Kennedy needs to decide, maybe it's time to take his career in his own path. Kenneth Amuro. Now, of course, since he's gone to Leganes this season, he's been very good. He's been very good for them. There's talks that they're looking to try and sign him on a permanent. Hopefully, we don't snake it. We don't ask for too much money and really stop him from getting his move. This guy's been dragged everywhere, every country, you know. The Championship, he's been in Turkey as well. And yeah, I think that it's time for him to just, you know, look after his own career. I'd sell him. Moving on to Killian Hazard. I think he's another guy that's already been sold, so good luck. Lewis Baker. Now, Lewis Baker. I feel for the guy. He's a player. He really is. He's got 2 feet. He can move the ball quickly. He reads the game very well. Set piece specialist. Shots from outside the box. I kind of feel as if he was Spanish or Portuguese or any other nationality other than English, and I think that he'd be seen differently. And I think that, clubs that need that style of midfield player would seriously look at him. I think he's a top player, and I mean, I've always envisioned that if the right luck fell into place for him, I really wouldn't be surprised to see him as part of the squads in the not too distant future. I think he's that good, and I'm hoping that he gets a good loan move. No more championship moves. You're better than that. I would evaluate him after one more season. Mason Mount. Oh, now this guy's a top player. I don't understand how some guys in the fan base seem to think that he's overrated. It's obvious to tell, who watches these guys and who doesn't. But if you told me before Ruben suffered his injury, then yeah, I would have said evaluate him after one more season. But because Ruben's out, I think that this could be the luck that maybe Mason needs. And I think that he's a player that would really complement what Sarri's trying to do. Presses very high, very good technically, good between the lines, comfortable carrying the ball, running past opponents. The modern day midfield player, and he's got shots outside the box, and he's a guy that wins you games. So for me, I bring him back. Moving on to Matt Miazga. Now, Matt Miazga, since he's gone back to Reading, just like Lewis Baker, he's been doing better. He's been doing well. Of course, his loan move with Nantes, I forgot how you say their name. It didn't go too well for him, but he's gone back to Reading. His reputation's building up again, and if you perform well in this country, it's only natural that clubs will look at you. He's really helped marshal that Reading defence, and for me, I would keep him as part of the loan army because I think that he's a player whose market value could really rise. Hector, I think player of the year for Sheffield Wednesday. He's been a bit of a journeyman in that sense, Eintracht Frankfurt, in the championship as well. So many different clubs. But, I think that him winning the player of the year at Sheffield Wednesday is a very good step for him. So I would keep him as part of the loan army. And let's see what he can do in a higher division again, because I think he's ready for that now. Now, moving on to Mitchie, and for me, need to sell him. I like Mitchie a lot. He's a good player, but I don't necessarily feel like his overall game is that high. And I think that Mitchie's the type of striker that a big club would look at when he's about 27, 28. He's a natural goal scorer. He can score with 2 feet. He's a bit Falcao-esque in my opinion because, he's got he can score with 2 feet, which is a good quality to have. But I think that you can get some money for him. Of course, Crystal Palace are interested. So yeah, I would sell him. Alvaro Morata, this is easy, you guys. I'd 1000% sell. I think that the player wants to stay at Atletico Madrid. That's obvious. He's spoken out publicly about stating that he wants to stay. And I feel that, his form's been decent. Madrid suit how he plays. And we can still get a lot of money for him. There's an agreement in place. It would be crazy if we brought Morata back. That wouldn't make any sense for me, especially when you consider our business model. So for me, sell him. Victor Moses. For me, you guys, I'm sorry. Sarri will have to take an L for how he's misused Victor Moses. And it really supports my theory where I've always felt like Sarri didn't really fully assess the strengths and weaknesses of the squad before he took over. If you think about it, where did he have the time to do that? He was managing Napoli, and then, this deal was on and off constantly. So didn't really have the time. And I think that if he did have that time, he would have realised that Moses could have done very well as a right back for us. No surprise to me that Conte wants to bring him back to Inter Milan. I thought that Victor Moses was very underrated. I think he was a very, very good wing back for us. A very good wing back defensively. How many guys did he ever see get past him? I thought he supported the play well. And for everyone that used to criticise him with his crossing and all this nonsense back then, compare what we have now with Aspie. Yeah, Victor Moses would get goals from that position. Aspie's never going to do that. And one of the players that wasn't really respected as much. But I think I would sell him, even though I think he could do something with us. Inter Milan coming in, you can get some decent money for him. And I think Moses, I think it'll be good for him. And I think, he deserves to play for a big club like Inter. Charlie Masunda. So many sad cases for these guys. I rate this guy highly. I'm kind of disappointed in Conte and how he didn't really give him much opportunities. I thought whenever Masunda came on, he did something, he was good. And I feel like, especially when we saw poor form from Willian and Pedro, even back then from last season, I don't know why he never got opportunities. Very talented. I just think that, this is the risk with a loan army. You're not going to know the best interests of the loan clubs you're sending these guys to. Everything went wrong at Betis because Gus Poyet came and didn't want to use wingers anymore. So what could he do? And then from then on, wrong loan moves. Brendan Rodgers, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He thought, because this guy's here for 18 months, I'm going to give the other guys more game time because they deserved it, and Masunda can play next season. I mean, come on, Masunda wants to play. That's why he signed for you guys. You gassed him to do that. So I kind of feel like he has been done dirty quite a lot. Hey, I'm going to evaluate him after one season. I think that there's still a very talented player in there. He just isn't getting the opportunities, which is sad. Nathan. Now, Nathan, obviously, he's gone back to Brazil. I would keep him as part of the loan army. I think with Vitesse, I don't think a player of his dimensions really suited how they play. He's not really a winger in that sense. He's more like a cam in the hole. I know when he was in France playing in that position, he was doing better, but I guess he wanted to go back to his hometown and, really rebuild his reputation again. Still young. And I'd keep him as part of the loan army to see how he does. Ole Einar. Now, for me, I got to bring this guy back. Able to play on the right and the left? Are you crazy? Now, that's such a rare commodity to have in a fullback these days. This guy's a baller. Offensively, he's amazing. And I always feel like, when he has that proper confidence to just play his own actual game, Ole Einar's gonna take people by surprise. But yeah, I rate this guy highly. I think that, he's definitely needed for the squad for next season. Much better than Zappacosta, no debate. Mario Pasalic, a guy that's been sent to France, to Russia, to Spain, now Italy. I mean, he's been everywhere. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we're pricing him out from a permanent deal at these loan clubs. And this is the risk, clubs play the game. They know that if we don't bid for him, we can get this guy for free for a season in that sense, and get a very good player. They play the game, they understand what's happening. He's been doing decent at Atalanta, and I wouldn't be surprised if they want him. I don't think he's really needed for us though, personally, but it comes to, for next season. I can't put him in evaluate after one more season. Would I sell him? I think that he could get a decent market value, but it could rise more in the future. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but it looks like one more loan move for you. Lucas Piazon. Now, this guy just... everything was looking so bright for him coming from Sao Paulo, seen as a new Kaká. We spent 10 million to sign him, which is crazy at the time. When guys like Vinicius Jr. are going for 4 times that amount. Didn't get the opportunity again, the stupid loan army, wrong clubs, and it's like, you have to understand, if you're a certain player with certain dimensions and characteristics, and let's say, for example, you're sent to a team that, prefers to defend off the ball, when you're a guy that, plays in the middle, for example, how are you really going to show what you can do? And I think that he's been kind of screwed over in that sense with lots of poor loan club options. But it's a shame, we're never going to see his full potential. But yeah, I think it's time for him to go, man. But at the same time, we have to consider that some of these guys are okay signing on, because you're going to get a decent wage. You have that stability. Imagine you sign a 5-year contract at Chelsea. You get 5 different loan moves, for example. That stability is that, we're paying you. You don't have to worry about that. If you suffered an injury during the time, then you'll be okay. So actually, you know what? Maybe I'm going to move Piazon and keep him in the loan army. Quintero. Quintero is very young. I think he's in the 2nd division in La Liga. I would keep him as part of the loan army. I think he's only 20, 21, so let's see what he can do. Todd Kane, after a great loan spell in the Eredivisie, injury. And how many times have injuries really set back these guys? Now, he was a very good offensive fullback. He's still doing well. I mean, obviously, rated highly in the Championship. This is why, big clubs there want to go for him. I think that with one more consistent season, maybe we can see him in the Premier League one day. But for me, I would keep him in the loan army. I think that he's been quite unfortunate, and I like the idea of the club kind of, safeguarding his career in that sense by, giving him that stability of a long-term contract. So I'd keep him. Thomas Callas. Now, the reason why I'm even talking about this stuff is because I read it in an interview from Thomas Callas actually, talking about how, you know, sometimes it can be a good business move to just sign on and remain in the loan army. You know, we spent big money to sign him back at the time, cost us 5 million. He was, you know, playing for Vitesse for 2 seasons, in the Eredivisie Team of the Year when he was like 17, 18. I don't really understand why he never got an opportunity. I didn't really understand that. Yeah, it makes no sense. But I think Thomas Callas now, in Bristol City, he's doing well. Some stability would be good for him instead of moving here and there. So I would sell him. Fikayako Tomori. Now for me, Tomori needs 1 more season. I like to see him play top flight football. Of course, Derby's player of the year. Very good player. He's only going to grow. I think that the last thing he needs right now is to not be playing week in, week out. The reason why he's developing so well is because he's playing consistently. And this is why game time is so important. So I think Tomori needs another loan spell. Kurt Zouma, yes, this guy needs to come back. No debates. He's technical, and I don't understand people that think Kurt Zouma can't play football. It's crazy how you can look at, people can look at the same thing and get completely different takes from it. It baffles my mind. My only explanation for people thinking he's not a baller is that you know, he's quite heavy. You know, he weighs like 200 pounds, so you can't expect him to be very faint on the ball. But I mean, we need his characteristics. One of the best defenders in the Premier League this season, in my opinion. Brilliant in the air, great pace, tackling. He can play, passes out, makes progressive balls as well. He's a top player. There's no surprise why Sarri is a big fan of what he's done this season. He needs to come back. And to end things with Jalaba, and for me, I'd keep him as part of the loan army. He's young, had a decent season at Ipswich. I like to see him play more in defence. Hopefully that comes with his next loan move, but he's done very well. Very good technical player. No surprise that he's been playing well in midfield as well. Keep him as part of the loan army, and that's it, you guys. I've gone through all the players currently on loan. Yeah, in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions. Are there guys who you think just need to be sold? Did I make any mistakes? Did you not agree with some of the things that I put down? Let me know in the comments below. But you guys, I'm going to keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.